Those wonderful people who know all about you and still like you, right? Friends. I just lost a friend. David died 2-3 years ago. He was the one I used to talk about. If I was stuck in a foreign jail accused unduly, if they would allow me one phone call, I would have called David. Why would I call him? He would come and get me. End of story. That's what you call a friend, right? Somebody who would come and get you. Next, I said I'm wealthy because of what I've learned. I'm wealthy from the people who have taught me. From the Earl Schoafs of the world and from the Bill Baileys of the world and other people that have made a contribution to my intellectual discovery, that have helped me to refine the track I live on for good health, for prosperity, for all the things valuable. Can't put a price tag on someone's book or someone's conversation. Someone who gives you knowledge when you need it the most, when you can't think of the ideas, your head is so clouded maybe with despair and the clouds of difficulty hover near. This is when you need somebody to whisper valuable information in your ear that helps you to survive and then to finally succeed. What is that knowledge worth? You can't put a price tag on it. What's this seminar worth? You couldn't put a price tag on it. The cost of the seminar pays for the lights and the room and somebody like me to come and the staff and all the other things. But the price of the seminar can't be the ideas. Here's what we have to do. Charge you for all the stuff. And then the ideas are free. Because how could you put a price tag on the ideas? That would be impossible. If you read a book that spared you from having a heart attack, what would it be worth? Someone says, $19.95. Say, no. No. That's what it cost. That's what it cost for the cover and the ink and the pages and the words and getting it to you and the brokers and all the stuff in between. That's the $20. You couldn't pay for the ideas. They're free. Key thing I've learned. Never begrudge the money you spend on personal education. Because if you can keep developing your mind and your perception and your awareness and your ability to discover, the fortune is yours. The health is yours. The promise is yours. A good family relationship is yours. Friendship is yours. Everything is yours if you keep accelerating your education. It's the best money you can invest in your personal self-education. Next, I said, I'm a wealthy man because of my future. You can't believe the people who say to me, Jim Rohn, what do you want to do in the future? We've got the wealth and the resources to do anything you want to do. What do you want to do? Do you know how unbelievable that is? What do you want to do? Incredible. Next, I said, I'm a wealthy man because of unique love experiences. I told you about Judy. That was a unique experience for me, even when we parted. You know, her 2 sons that I inherited as stepsons are now part of my family. And my 2 daughters and these 2 sons are very close. Her ex-husband and I are best friends. That's kind of unique. But it was one of the great experiences of my life. A major share of what I am today came from that unique experience of a love affair unmatched. Wow. Now let me close with something that I think we've already sent you home with. Here it is. Let others lead small lives, but not you. We have come to journey through these 2 days of seminar experience. Here's why, so that when we leave here, we can take larger steps toward our goals, stronger steps toward our vision. There'll be a new pride in our stride. There'll be a new light in our eyes. There'll be a new faith in our heart and soul. That because of our influence and because of who we are, who we want to be, we can touch other people's lives. Here's what's next, which I've tried to do during these 2 days. And that is to do your best above making a living and making a fortune. Here's what's very important. To enjoy this incredible satisfaction of helping people not just with their jobs, but with their lives. Sure, we need to teach job skills, sales skills and recruiting skills and managing skills and leadership skills. But here's what else we need to teach our children and everybody we can reach: life skills. How to set goals, how to be dynamic, how to become sophisticated, how to be kind as well as strong. One of the great writers of New Testament, here's what he said. And I'm sure it must have been a journey of incredible challenge, because here's what he said at one of the peaks of his life's discovery. He said, I've learned to be both ambitious and content. Can you imagine what a place that must be to finally arrive? To be both ambitious and content? Most contented people are not that ambitious, and most ambitious people are not that content. But the extraordinary place to arrive is to be both ambitious and content. And here's what I think was part of what he meant. Now, usually what people say, it means much more than what they say. William Booth, grandson of old General Booth that started the Salvation Army, personal friend of my parents and myself. He spoke 7 languages. He was a genius. I remember William Booth said to me one day when I was just, 18, 19 years old. He said, Jim, the Bible doesn't mean what it says. I thought, whoa. He said, rather, it means much more than what it says. Wow. You can't put the whole scope of things in a few English words. You've got to try to understand all that it means, not just what it says. Wow. And this is part of now your labor as well as mine, to help people with their lives, to help people with discovery. If you get a good book on nutrition and it starts to benefit your health, I'm telling you, you've got to pass it along, share it with someone else. You've got to say, Mary, you've got to read this book, I'm telling you. I've got more vitality now than I've ever had before. Any discoveries you've made, pass them on, pass them on, pass them on. Because here's a promise. Jot this promise down from the old prophet of ancient times. Here's what he said. If you will use your gifts, they will make room for you. If you will use your gifts, the gift of your language, the gift of your knowledge, the gift of your discovery, the gift of your emotion, the gift of caring, the gift of loving, the gift of being who you are. If you will use your gifts and develop your gifts, here's what they will do, and jot this down. They'll make a place for you. Maybe a variety of places during the course of your life. You'll always have a place, the prophet said, if you'll develop your gifts. I got to be a good example of that. Look where my gifts have brought me to this room. I worked hard on my gifts. I worked hard on the English language. I worked hard on putting things in phrases that might make a difference. I worked hard on trying to make it clear. I struggle with the language. Sometimes when I'm lecturing in another country and I've got a translator and I'll say something and the translator will translate and someone down front will say, Mr. Rohn, that wasn't the best translation. And I've told my translators ahead of time, if somebody now wants to correct you, that's part of this process. I haven't come to just give a performance and do my dance and get paid and leave. I don't do that. If someone in the front row says, Mr. Rohn, there's a better translation than that. And I say to my translator, listen to his translation. So we get this person's translation. And my translator said, yes, that is a better way to translate what Mr. Rohn just said. And the reason is, if you labor with the language, not be too hasty to just make a talk and go, but to say, let's work this out until the lights turn on. And if we can find a better translation, I'm telling you, for everybody, extra lights go on. And then that light goes on for me. Just by taking the time to labor with the language so that things can become clear. Don't give too many little 5-minute things with your family. Take a little more time and labor with the language. And say, is that clear? Say, no, it isn't clear. Let me say it another way and say it another way until finally it becomes clear. If you'll take the time to do that, I'm telling you, those kind of gifts will make room for you if you are that diligent about what you have to share. Okay. But I want to thank you for providing a room for me. Here's what Earl Shove said to me. He said, Mr. Rohn, if you will work on all of your gifts, if you will do the best you possibly can, one of these days you'll be financially independent. I went for that. One of these days you'll be rich. I went for that. One of these days all the bills will be paid. You'll have treasures besides to give away. Your family, the future. He painted all of these pictures. He said, who knows, someday you could become famous. I thought, wouldn't that be something? He said, no, I can see it. He said, if you keep up your present pace, I promise you, one of these days you will walk into a room and you will hear people say, that's him. That's the famous man. I thought, couldn't happen for me. But guess what when I walked in here yesterday? Guess what I think I heard somebody say? That's him. That's the famous man. Wow. Now here's what I wish. With all my heart, here's what I really wish. Since this is already happening for me, here's what I really wish is for this to happen for you. For you to have a place of honor, respect, dignity. For you to have this exploding self-satisfaction that you have used your gifts wisely. They've blessed your family, blessed your community, blessed your business. It's available for all of us. Wow. So I want to thank you for being my guest and for dropping by these 2 days. It's been a fabulous experience for me. Here's what I promise you now as we leave. How many of you have my name on your notes? Have you got my name on your notes? How many of you? Everybody? Okay. Here's what that means. When you leave here, I go with you. So that's good. Now, some of you have taken pictures, so, I go with you to hang on your wall or somewhere, right? So I go with you. But here's what I also promise you as we leave here, that I will not leave you behind. I will take you with me in my heart and in my thoughts. God bless. Unbelievable. Wow. I toast you. Thank you. God bless. Thank you very much. Wow. Unbelievable. Thanks, everybody. Thank you very much.
You've reached the end of this disc. The program continues on the next CD.